Discover how a new cleaning lady unexpectedly changed the lives of Millionaire's 6-year-old twins. Clara stepped into the sprawling mansion of the Hawthorns, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and anxiety. The marble floors gleamed under the chandeliers, each corner brimming with wealth she had only seen in movies. As a single mother from a modest background, she had always worked hard to provide for her daughter, but today felt different. A brand new world awaited her. Little did she know, it wasn't just her life that was about to change. As she began her first task scrubbing the kitchen tiles, Clara couldn't help but feel the weight of something profoundly sad in the air. Even in this palace of opulence, the laughter of children was absent. She turned in time to catch Mia and Max, the 6-year-old twins who were lost in a mountain of plush toys, their bright yellow playroom bearing no resemblance to their heavy hearts. They called out to their parents, their tiny voices filled with longing. "Why can't we play today?" they whispered, eyes glistening. "They always leave for parties." Her chest tightened. Oh, how she remembered her own childhood filled with silly games and warm cuddles. Inspiration struck, and in a rare moment when the twins were alone, Clara crouched down and shared tales of her own adventures in the park, where the wind danced through the trees and whispers of dreams took flight. Their faces lit up, genuine smiles breaking through their polished facades. "Can we go there?" Mia beamed, the younger twin leaning closer. Clara's heart swelled with joy. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as the twins began to flourish under Clara's comforting influence, life threw her a curveball. A sudden illness struck her elderly mother, leaving Clara wrestling with overwhelming burdens. Her heart raced with worry. The thought of failing her daughter while juggling the demands of work weighed heavily on her shoulders. Mia and Max, curious and loving, noticed Clara's sadness. They saw beyond the cleaning lady. She was part of their small world now. They concocted a plan, their imaginations bursting with ideas. "We can help her. We'll ask Mommy and Daddy for a charity event," Max suggested, his eyes glimmering with determination. As they planned, tension brewed at home. The twins' parents were caught off guard by their kids' newfound passion for empathy. The father, entrenched in business and giddy about social prestige, raised an eyebrow while their mother mulled over shuffling schedules and invitations. Doubts lingered. Cracks formed in their perfect lives as they began to face the truth about their own emotional isolation. Did they even know how disconnected they were from their children? Clara's struggle met a collision point with the twins' aspirations, pulling them all into a whirlwind of emotions. Just when they thought they'd be so together, hope a storm brewed. Would it be enough to change their lives for good? Or would the shadows of their secrets keep them apart? Clara felt a storm brewing, and it wasn't just the one outside. As she wiped the last of her mother's worries from her mind, thoughts of the twins danced in and out of her consciousness. The sun poured through the kitchen windows, illuminating the pristine countertops and the growing pile of laundry in a corner. While her own world felt heavy, the prospect of helping Mia and Max was a glimmer of hope that kept her going. Their innocence reminded her that connections could still be forged, even amidst the chaos. Meanwhile, Mia and Max lay in whispered conversations during their naps, transforming the quiet of their playroom into a boardroom of dreams. "We need an idea that makes Mommy and Daddy notice," Mia said, her brows knitting together in concentration. "Maybe we can play a game?" Max suggested excitedly, his mind racing with possibilities. As Clara vacuumed, the sound drowning out their excitement, she accidentally overheard their hushed voices. For a moment, she paused, the vacuum going silent as she leaned against the wall. The twins didn't see the chaos around them. They were building a plan of kindness. Suddenly, Clara's heart felt lighter. Perhaps her struggles could intertwine with their dreams, creating something beautiful together. Days passed, and the twins busied themselves with little acts of kindness throughout the mansion. They brought Clara freshly baked cookies and left sweet notes in unexpected places. "You're the best cleaning lady ever," one read. Those notes became Clara's lifeline. They kept her spirits buoyed during long nights filled with worry about her mother. The twins' parents, however, remained oblivious to the tides of change. Mr. Hawthorne, with a penchant for business meetings and lavish parties, barely noticed the reluctant smiles exchanged by his children. Meanwhile, Mrs. Hawthorne was often lost in her social calendar, a blur of dresses and events. One sunny afternoon, the twins approached their parents with their project. "We want to help Clara. We need to have a charity event," Max declared, innocence shining through his determination. Mrs. Hawthorne exchanged glances with her husband. "A charity event? For what, dear?" She probed lightly, her lips curling up in a perplexed smile. "For Clara's mom. She's not feeling well, and we want to take them to the park." Mia's voice rang with hope. The twins' earnest expressions were a stark contrast to their parents' detached demeanor. Silent tension hung in the air. The mother hesitated, and Mr. Hawthorne chuckled nervously. "A charity event? That's cute, kids," he said, brushing it off as if it were merely a child's play. But underneath that facade, a flicker of concern ignited. Clara noticed the shift the very next day. The twins came to her with a plan. "We want to throw a big party. A charity event. For you and your mom." Max beamed. Their genuine excitement struck a chord in her heart. The twins believed they could make a difference, and with that came a rush of hope. As Clara smiled back, she felt a warmth spread through her. Perhaps this event could be more than just a way to save her mother. Maybe it could bridge the gap between her world and the Hawthorns. Tears threatened to spill, not from sorrow, but from the possibility of connection. "Let us make this happen," Clara replied, her voice steady with newfound resolve. Little did she know, this simple decision would not only open doors for her family, but could also reveal truths hidden in the shadows of the Hawthorns' grand facade. But just as plans began to unfold and excitement bubbled within their small team, a stern knock echoed from the front door. Clara's heart sank as she exchanged worried glances with the twins. Who could it be? What new challenge awaited them at this critical juncture? The knock repeated, louder this time. It shattered the moment, sending a ripple of apprehension through Clara. She exchanged anxious looks with Mia and Max. Their little faces wore masks of curiosity mixed with fear. Clara set the twins aside gently, her heart pounding against her ribs. As she made her way toward the door, each step felt heavier than the last. What if it was someone from the agency? Someone here to bring her bad news? Clara swallowed hard and took a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. The polished wood of the door felt cool beneath her fingers as she reached out and pulled it open. The unexpected figure standing before her was a stranger, a woman in a tailored suit, her demeanor sharp but not unkind. "Good afternoon, I'm Samantha Drew," she said, extending her hand. "I'm here on behalf of the Hawthorne family." Clara hesitated, processing the information. "Oh, hi, Clara." Her voice was barely above a whisper. Samantha's gaze flickered past Clara, landing on the twins, who peeked from behind their aunt. "I've come to discuss their upcoming charity event," she said, her smile attempting to be warm but overshadowed by urgency. "We need to make sure it goes smoothly, and it seems you've played a key role in this idea." "Me?" The word tumbled out, disbelief creasing Clara's brow. "I'm just helping the twins." "Yes, but your involvement has captured their hearts," Samantha responded. "The Hawthorns care deeply about their children. This kind of initiative could very well open up a new chapter for them." As the woman spoke, Clara's apprehension began to shift toward a spark of hope. In the world of opulence surrounding the Hawthorns, her small role seemed insignificant. But with Samantha's attention, it was as if the door had opened wider, allowing light into her world. "Maybe we can plan something together?" Clara suggested tentatively, the warmth of possibility flooding through her. "I mean, I have some ideas that could engage the community." Samantha's eyes lit up, and she nodded eagerly. "That's exactly the spirit we need. We can make this event something the whole neighborhood remembers." With that, Clara felt the weight of her worries shift. Perhaps this collaboration would mean more than just lifting her family from their troubles. Maybe it could strengthen the bond between the twins and their parents, too. Meanwhile, Mia and Max stood by, absorbing every word, their little faces alight with excitement. "Can we help plan, too?" They chimed in unison. "Absolutely." Samantha beamed, her enthusiasm infectious. "The more we involve the children, the more personal this will become." A rush of ideas flooded Clara's mind. They could set up games, fill the yard with laughter, and invite the neighbors. It could be a proper celebration, one that reminded everyone of what community means. Her heart swelled at the thought. Before they knew it, plans began to unfold right there in the doorway. Clara, Samantha, Mia, and Max gathered in an impromptu huddle, jotting down ideas and brainstorming themes. It felt like magic, a spark igniting between them, blending their dreams with a shared purpose. But just as the energy began to build, Clara's phone buzzed in her pocket, its sudden sound slicing through the happy atmosphere. She fished it out to check the screen, and the color drained from her face. It was a message from her mother's nurse. "We need to discuss your mother's condition. It's urgent." Everything paused. Clara's breath hitched in her throat. The excitement of the event faded into the background, replaced by a wave of impending dread. The twins, still buzzing with ideas, looked to her for guidance. What if the charity couldn't save her mother? Clara stared at the message, her heart battling between hope and fear. "Clara?" Mia's soft voice broke through her thoughts, eyes wide with concern. Could she really balance this charity with her mother's health? In that moment, Clara realized how fragile her hope had become. And as her heart raced, she knew the next few days would be pivotal, not just for the event, but for her family's future. The question lingered in the air. Would Clara find a way to do it all, or would her new hope shatter under the weight of her reality? Clara stood frozen, her heart racing. The weight of the nurse's message hung heavily in the air, smothering the joy that had begun to blossom just moments before. Mia and Max, innocent and bright-eyed, couldn't know the chaos swirling within Clara's mind. She forced a smile, but it felt brittle, barely a facade. "Mommy?" Max asked, breaking the uneasy silence. "Is everything okay?" Clara knelt down to their level, feeling the warmth of their little hands in hers. Everything will be all right, sweetie," she reassured, though her own voice wavered. "We were just talking about a fun event we're going to plan, remember?" Mia's eyebrows furrowed, sensing something amiss. "But what kind of fun?" She pressed, her voice filled with childlike determination. Clara took a deep breath, steadying herself against the wave of anxious thoughts. "Games. And music. We'll invite the whole neighborhood. It'll be perfect." It was a weak attempt, yet it seemed to quell their worries momentarily. Samantha, ever perceptive, intervened. "Why don't we talk about the themes of the party?" she suggested brightly, her voice slicing through Clara's turmoil. "I'll send you both some options later. Meanwhile, you all can think about what your friends might like. I know we have to make it special." For a moment, Clara found solace in planning. Ideas unspooled in her mind, colorful balloons, a bouncy castle, maybe face painting. But the urgency of her mother's condition loomed like a shadow. Every time Clara tried to reach for hope, it slipped away from her grasp. "Clara?" Samantha's voice pulled her back, looking concerned. "Is everything all right?" Clara forced a smile. "Yes. Just a lot to take in, I guess." She didn't want to burden this stranger or even the twins with her troubles. "I really appreciate your help, though. I want this to be amazing for the kids." With renewed focus, they dove back into the plans. Laughter filled the air as Mia and Max giggled and threw out ideas, their enthusiasm infectious. Clara couldn't help but smile as she watched their excitement, a flicker of warmth igniting in her chest, but darker thoughts nagged at her, like unwelcome guests. What if she lost her mother before the charity took place? What if the event didn't make a difference at all? Nausea curled in her stomach as memories of her mother's laughter made her heart ache. Finally, the huddle began to disperse. Clara held the twins tightly, savoring the moment. "All right, little party planners. Let us make a list of everything you want. And we can meet up with Samantha at the park tomorrow? They smiled brightly, the twins energizing her with their joy. Yes, we'll make the best list ever. They squealed, voices ringing through the house like music. As they moved back inside, Clara's phone buzzed again. This time, it only brought a sense of dread. She glanced at the screen, dread coiling tighter within her. Hey, I'll be right back, she said quickly, stepping away to the living room. With a heavy heart, Clara hesitated before returning the call. Her fingers shook slightly as she swiped to answer. Hello? Clara, it's me. The nurse's voice came through, steady and professional. We need to talk about your mother's care options. It won't be easy. The room dimmed around Clara, and she felt the walls closing in. She paused, swallowing hard. Is she going to be okay? A long silence stretched between them. Clara, we need to discuss some important decisions. Please come in as soon as you can. A rush of panic washed over her. I'll be there, she said firmly, though inside, she felt like a buoy bobbing helplessly in a turbulent sea. With a deep breath, Clara returned to the twins, forcing down the surge of emotion threatening to spill over. She found their excitement waiting for her like a lifeline. Okay, who's ready to write down the best ideas ever? Mia and Max jumped up and down, pulling her back to the brighter moments. But Clara's mind raced ahead. What would she need to face tomorrow? As they crowded around the table scribbling ideas, a new thought pierced her heart. Could a charity event really bring healing, or were they playing a game of hope while the storm brewed right on the horizon? In that whirlwind of doubt, Clara knew a storm was coming. She just hoped she could weather it and still come out on the other side with her family intact. And as thoughts tumbled through her mind, one question evolved. Would hope alone be enough to hold them all together during the most difficult time of her life? Clara's heart echoed in her chest as she returned to the twins. Their faces shone with enthusiasm, starkly contrasting with the heavy cloud of doubt looming over her mind. She dove back into the moment, brushing aside her fears, if only for a little while. So, how about a pirate theme? Max suggested, his eyes sparkling. Or a princess party? Mia countered, jumping on her brother's ideas. The twins were unfazed, their imaginations running wild, brightening the room. For a few minutes, Clara allowed herself to bask in their joy. She scribbled down ideas, her heart aching at the thought of how fragile happiness could feel. However, as she listened to their banter, the nurse's words echoed relentlessly. Care options. Important decisions. Each phrase felt like a weight pressing down on her, threatening to crush the lively chatter around her. What decisions? Would they involve treatments that might prolong her mother's suffering? Clara could barely think about it without feeling nauseous. Mommy, what do you think? Max's voice cut through her spiraling thoughts. Oh, the pirate theme, yes, Clara exclaimed, pushing the shadows aside. She found herself getting lost in their laughter, but the moment felt like a fragile bubble. If she touched it wrong, it would burst. Still, she smiled faintly, catching Mia's gaze. Her daughter was searching for reassurance, her little face full of genuine trust. As they brainstormed, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that the innocence before her was under threat. Okay, let us decide on the games. What do you want to play? She prompted, guiding their conversation towards safe territory. The twins bounced around ideas, sack races, treasure hunts, and silly musical chairs. Their voices blended into a happy symphony, mingling with the sound of the leaves rustling outside, as evening began to settle in. Yet, amid this warmth, Clara felt a chill each time her mind wandered back to that conversation. As dinner approached, Clara excused herself to the kitchen, needing a moment of solitude. She stared out the window, the world outside painting the scene with colors of dusk. The branches of the old oak swayed gently, a reminder of resilience. But what if resilience wasn't enough this time? What if the next day brought answers she didn't want? Her breath hitched. She leaned against the counter, allowing a single tear to slip down her cheek. Mommy, why are you sad? Mia's voice rang out from the doorway, and Clara quickly wiped her eyes. I'm not sad, sweetheart. Just thinking, Clara said, forcing her smile again. But the worry in her heart was heavier than the weight of the world. Come on. Dinner is ready, Max called, tugging at her hand and pulling her back into their bubble of laughter. As they sat around the table, the twins shared stories of their adventures at school. Laughter echoed, and Clara savored those moments of mundane happiness. In between bites of spaghetti, she found herself repeatedly turning to them, feeling their warmth seep into her chilled soul. With the sunset casting a warm glow over their little home, she found herself fighting against the dread ahead. It was hard to believe that laughter and heartache could coexist, but here they were, tangled together in this moment. After dinner, the twins begged for just a little more time before bed. Clara reluctantly agreed as they piled into the living room for a short movie. As she settled against the couch, with Mia resting her head on her lap, Clara finally allowed her mind to wander to the daunting conversation that awaited her. Could she stand firm for her mother's sake? And yet, as she watched the two tiny bodies so full of life, she realized she had to try. Her heart stirred with something deeper than just fear. Was it love? Hope? The rallying forces of family? Whatever it was, Clara knew that she had to count on every ounce of it to face whatever tomorrow might hold. And just as she thought she could find breath in the space between, Clara heard her phone buzz again, a reminder that danger still lurked just out of sight. What more would she have to confront, and how could she possibly prepare for it? Clara's heart skipped when she noticed her phone lighting up again with a notification. She picked it up, her hands trembling slightly. A message from her brother, Ethan, filled the screen. Hey sis, thinking about mom. Do you have a moment to talk? She pressed her lips together, feeling another wave of panic threaten to wash over her. Could she talk to him about this? Did she have the strength to share her fears? She took a deep breath, letting herself linger on the happiness that filled the living room. Max and Mia were engrossed in their movie, their giggles rumbling with innocent joy. Okay, she typed back. Give me a minute. After sending the message, Clara set her phone down, running her fingers through the twins' hair. She felt an overwhelming mix of love and fear crashing against her heart like waves. She wanted to shield them from the storm brewing outside, but they were already living in its shadow. All right, just one more scene, she whispered, trying to savor these fleeting moments of laughter. Just a little longer, they could remain untouched by the chaos waiting for her beyond these walls. As the credits rolled and the twins cheered, Clara stood slowly, feeling her resolve hardening. Time for bed, guys. Remember, pirates need their rest, she announced, a little more cheerfully than she felt. After a series of reluctant goodnights and a few fleeting hugs, she tucked Max and Mia into bed. They snuggled under their blankets, eyes wide with childlike wonder. Can you tell us a pirate story? Mia asked, her voice a gentle plea. Clara's heart constricted. She felt warmth rushing through her as she perched on the edge of their tiny bed. All right, here it goes, she began, weaving a tale about treasure maps and courageous heroes, hoping to get lost in their fantasies for a moment. As she spoke, she caught sight of the little pirate flags decorating the room. Each one represented their dreams, vivid and bright. Still, she was painfully aware of the darker clouds threatening to seep into their reality. When the story ended, their eyes drooped with sleep. Night, Mommy, Max murmured, yawning. Night, love, she whispered, brushing a stray hair from his forehead. Clara stepped out into the dimly lit hallway, feeling the heaviness return as she approached her phone. She clicked on the text from Ethan, heart pounding. Another chance to face the truth? Or another way to avoid it? Ethan, I'm here, she typed, unsure how to begin. Almost instantly, her phone rang, and she held it to her ear. Hey, Clara. How are you? It was such a simple question, yet she sensed the weight behind it, the unspoken fears that grew like weeds in their minds. I'm okay, just busy. The kids are finally in bed. Good. I've been thinking about Mom, Ethan said carefully. Do you want to discuss what the doctors said? A lump formed in Clara's throat. Would talking about it make it more real? Could they handle this, or were they just as fragile as the laughter filling their home a few moments ago? Yeah, she heard herself say, her voice barely a whisper. As they dove deeper into the conversation, Clara felt waves of doubt crash against her defenses. Yet, amidst the uncertainty, she realized she needed to be brave, if not for herself then for her children. I want to know what we can do to make her comfortable. I can't stand the thought of her in pain, she confessed. Neither can I, Ethan replied, his voice steady. But we'll figure this out together. We owe her that much. They spoke for what felt like hours, pushing through fears and details, exhausting yet somehow empowering. When the call ended, Clara stood staring at the phone, surprised at a glimmer of hope nestled within the ache. She had shared the burden, even a tiny bit, and it felt different. As she prepared to settle down for the night, a thought struck her. How far could this connection take them? Today began with the unthinkable looming on the horizon. What if tomorrow started to change that? She resolved to find out, to lean into the storm rather than hide from it. A deeper conviction settled within her. Tomorrow was not just another chance for heartache, it might also be the beginning of something else. But as she lay down, her mind flicked back to the notifications on her phone, one from a hospital group she needed to visit soon, and another from a caregiver whose experience could help guide her through this. What was she about to discover, and would it lead her down a path she least expected? Clara woke to the soft morning light streaming through the curtains, casting a warm glow over the chaos of toys and blankets strewn across the living room. She rubbed her eyes, trying to shake off the remnants of the night's conversation with Ethan. It had felt heavy, yet she had emerged feeling a bit lighter. As she moved through the house, she caught a glimpse of herself in the hallway mirror. Her hair was tousled, and dark circles lingered beneath her eyes. Yet, in that reflection, she noticed a flicker of determination. She could do this. Rise and shine, pirates, she called, her voice cheerful as she dashed into the twins' room. Max stirred first, stretching like a little cat, while Mia buried deeper into her pillow. Mommy, just 5 more minutes. Mia groaned, her voice muffled. Clara chuckled. All right, but only if you promise to help me find treasure later. This made Mia perk up, her eyes brightening with excitement. With laughter bubbling in the air, the morning routine began, fraught with giggles and the inevitable cereal spills. Halfway through breakfast, Clara's phone buzzed again. It was a notification for another message, and instinctively, her heart raced. She glanced over at Max and Mia, who were busy reenacting a pirate battle with their spoons. Taking a breath, she decided to check it. It was the caregiver she'd contacted after the previous night's discussion. Good morning, Clara. I received your message. I'd love to talk about how I can help your family during this time. Her heart leaped. This was the opportunity she'd been hoping for, a way to ease the weight of what lay ahead. She quickly responded, setting up a time for later that day. As the day rolled on, Clara felt a renewed sense of focus. She prepared the twins for their activities, establishing a rhythm in their lives that felt comforting amidst the uncertainty. They built forts, swam in imaginative seas, and hunted for treasure in the backyard. Each laugh and cheer from her children fueled her hope, but beneath the surface, the reality remained. Clara couldn't shake the impending visit with the caregiver from her mind, nor the hospital's reminders that loomed like shadows. She picked up the house, but her thoughts lingered on her mother. In the afternoon, just before the caregiver was set to arrive, Clara made a simple promise to herself. She would be honest about everything. She would not shield the twins from checking on their grandmother. She wanted them to understand the beauty of connection even in the toughest times. With trembling hands, she opened a box of old photographs. There were smiling faces and carefree memories, capturing the essence of her mother's vibrant spirit. Clara felt a swell of love mixed with grief. When the doorbell rang, she took a deep breath and opened the door. The caregiver, a kind-looking woman with gentle eyes, stepped forward with an empathetic smile. Hi there. I'm Mia, she said warmly. Clara felt an immediate sense of calm wash over her. I'm Clara. Thank you for coming. After brief introductions, they sat down in the living room. They dove into discussions about care options, comfort measures, and the emotional load Clara was carrying. Mia offered practical advice, but more importantly, She listened, really listened. As Clara shared her fears, she saw understanding reflected in Mia's eyes. It was like talking to a friend who understood the depths of her pain, someone who could help shape the reality into something more manageable. "Remember, Clara," Mia said softly during one of the more intense moments, "it's okay to not have all the answers right now. What matters is being present." Tears welled up in Clara's eyes, but they were met with a burgeoning sense of release. Though the path ahead was murky, she felt a comforting truth settle in the journey was not hers to bear alone anymore, and help was on the way. After Mia left, Clara found the twins drawing pictures at the kitchen table. She watched them, her heart swelling with love, realizing how essential it was for them to witness resilience. "Hey, guys," she said softly, "how about we write Grandma a letter together?" Excited chatter erupted around her, and for the first time that day, Clara felt a flutter of hope. It wasn't just about the darkness that lay ahead. There was also light, memories in the making, and a future waiting to unfold. As they crafted their message, Clara couldn't help but smile, imagining how her mother would respond. Maybe their act of love would stitch together the fabric of their family in a way she had never anticipated. But just as the letters took shape, a sudden thought struck her like lightning. What if the caregiver could also bring fresh insights about her mother's condition? What else could they uncover about love and healing? Just outside the door, the world felt both heavy and hopeful. Clara closed her eyes, silently promising against the backdrop of uncertainties that today's act of love might just unravel new beginnings. Later that evening, as twilight painted the sky in shades of purple and gold, Clara sat quietly at the kitchen table, the remnants of their heartfelt letters spread out in front of her. Max and Mia had long gone to bed, leaving behind the echoes of their laughter and the charm of their carefree spirits. The house felt different now, a mix of love and unease swirling in the stillness. With each sip from her tea, Clara could feel the warmth seep deeper into her bones, but it was the comforting quiet that began to crack under the weight of her thoughts. She glanced at the kitchen window, through which the last rays of sunlight slipped away. What would tomorrow bring? Would Mia have more insights on how to manage her mother's care? As much as she wanted to embrace the hope Mia had instilled in her, doubt still lurked in the corners of her heart. Would accepting help make her weak? Or could it be the very thing that would lead to healing? The stillness was broken when her phone chimed, pulling her from the web of worry she had knitted. It was Ethan, a simple message. "Hey, just checking in. How are things?" His words hung in the air, their sincerity warming her heart. She could picture him, with his concerned expression, leaning against the counter, just waiting for her reply. Time seemed to take on a new pace as she considered how to respond. Opening up to him, would it make things easier or complicate them further? "Things are complicated," she typed back, feeling the gravity of her truth. "I'm trying to navigate everything with Mom and the kids. But I think help is finally coming." His response was immediate. "That's great to hear. Want to talk about it?" Did she want to share it all? A part of her yearned for connection, to unveil the messy threads of her day and feel understood. As she poured her heart out through the screen, tears pooled in her eyes. It felt good to let the worries flow, to talk about the weight on her shoulders. After a few moments, Clara's phone buzzed again. "I wish I could help more. But remember, you're not alone in this. You and the twins are strong. You'll get through it together." His words settled over her like a gentle embrace, igniting a flicker of hope. When she finally laid her phone down, Clara felt as if a layer of tension had melted away. Perhaps the most astonishing transformation was happening within her, letting others in to share the burden. She closed her eyes and inhaled deeply, inviting the moment of peace to wrap around her. The next morning brought a renewed spirit. After a hearty breakfast to fuel their adventures, Clara gathered the twins to discuss their plans for the day. "Today, we're going on a little adventure of our own," she announced, excitement bubbling in her chest. "We're going to visit Grandma, and I want us all to work together to make her day special." They cheered, the notion of being helpers igniting their imaginations. Clara took a deep breath, feeling more sure of herself. The discomfort of approaching this visit with uncertainty began to fade. As they prepared, Ideas flowed like river currents, wild stories, goodies, and even a surprise plant to brighten her mother's room. But as they packed the car, Clara felt a flicker of anxiety start to creep back in. Would this visit bring joy or more sorrow? With the soft whisper of the engine rumbling to life, she noticed the way her hands trembled on the wheel. The twins were chattering away, blissfully unaware of her inner struggle. Strangely, their laughter was a balm, grounding her once again. "Mom," Max shouted from the back seat, breaking her reverie, "do you think Grandma will like the flowers? I picked the brightest ones." A smile broke through Clara's worry, warming her heart. "I think that's the best choice, buddy. Grandma will love them." As they approached the familiar hospital, a tight knot formed in her stomach. Her heart raced, and she could feel the air grow thick with anticipation. The building loomed ahead, its darkness contrasting with the vibrancy of the flowers they held. Just before stepping out, Mia turned to her mother, her wide, innocent eyes sparkling. "What if Grandma gets to feeling better because of us?" Her words struck a chord within Clara, resonating the hope she had worked hard to hold on to. "Maybe, sweet pea. Maybe," she whispered as a chill danced down her spine. As they gathered their things and stepped into the world beyond, Clara felt the weight of the unknown pressing against her chest. But beneath that pressure lay an ember of courage fueled by love. What other surprises awaited them within those hospital walls? Would this visit uncover new strengths they didn't know they possessed? As they entered the hospital, the antiseptic scent filled Clara's nostrils, a sharp reminder of where they were. She guided Max and Mia through the maze of bright corridors, the flickering fluorescent lights amplifying her sense of unease. But their small hands in hers felt reassuring. Their buoyant energy seemed to push the heaviness from her heart, guiding her forward. Once they reached Grandma's room, Clara paused for a moment, taking in the soft sounds of the machines humming rhythmically around the space. The room was filled with pictures of happier times, photos of their adventures, and moments painted in laughter. But the bed was still, a stark contrast to the vibrant memories. Mia tiptoed inside first, her curiosity shining through. "Grandma?" she called softly, her voice barely louder than a whisper. Clara felt a wave of uncertainty wash over her. What would Grandma's reaction be? Would she recognize them? Would she smile? Max shuffled in right behind Mia, holding the flowers aloft as if they were a prize. "We brought you flowers," he announced, his voice brightening the dull room. Clara stepped in as they settled at Grandma's bedside. The old woman's eyes fluttered open, their cloudy depths trying to focus on the tiny figures before her. Then, as if a light flooded in, a smile broke across her face, breathing life into the stillness. "Oh, my sweet babies," she breathed, her voice scratchy but rich with love. The kids rushed forward, climbing onto the bed with careful excitement. Clara couldn't help but remember all the times their grandma had brought them ice cream on warm summer days, or snuggled them close while reading stories. Seeing her smile, even in this setting, was a small victory. "Look, Grandma, I picked the brightest flowers just for you," Max said, waving them like a trophy. Grandma took the flowers gingerly, inspecting each bloom as if they were treasures. "They're beautiful, just like their givers," she said, glancing from Max to Mia, her expression softer than the clouds outside. Clara stood back, watching a bittersweet mix of joy and sadness swirl through her. Seeing her children bring even a flicker of happiness to their grandmother made her heart swell. Yet, the shadow of uncertainty loomed. How many more moments like this could they share? As Mia started sharing her latest adventure with the butterflies in the garden, Clara's thoughts wandered to Ethan. His words echoed in her mind, "You're not alone in this." How true that felt at this moment. The twins were blooming, like the flowers in Grandma's hands, and Clara realized she didn't have to shoulder everything by herself. The laughter filled the room, blending with the beeping of machines. Clara's heart lightened with each giggle, each smile exchanged. But just then, the door swung open and a nurse entered, her serious demeanor cutting through the cheer like a knife. "It's time for Grandma's medication," the nurse said, gently interrupting their moment. The weight in the air shifted. Clara's heart dropped. She bit her lip, suddenly aware of their transient joy. The nurse began adjusting Grandma's for, and the laughter quieted, replaced by the low thrum of reality. But before the nurse could finish, Grandma reached for Clara's hand. "Keep telling them stories, Clara," she whispered, her gaze steady. Stories are always stronger than the silence. Clara felt a rush of warmth at her mother's words. Stories, perhaps that was where the healing could truly start, not just for Grandma, but for themselves. In that moment, it clicked. They would continue creating memories, weaving a tapestry of hope and resilience, even amidst uncertainty. As the nurse finished her task, Clara made a promise to herself. They would turn this experience into something beautiful, honoring Grandma while cherishing each other. Standing there, hand in hand with her children, she realized they were ready to face the unknown. But just as they began to settle back into their shared laughter, Clara noticed a flicker at the edge of the door. A shadow loomed, revealing a figure she hadn't expected to see. "Hey, I hope I'm not interrupting." Clara froze, her heart racing as she recognized Ethan's familiar face standing at the threshold, holding a small bag of goodies. Would his presence change everything she thought she understood about this journey? Clara felt a rush of emotions coursing through her. Her brother's appearance was a potent blend of relief and anxiety. Could he really handle this? She wanted to rush to him, embrace him, but the moment was heavy with the unpredictability of their lives. "Ethan," she breathed, an echo of disbelief wrapping around her words as she let the twins run towards him. They leaped into his arms, their laughter infusing the room with warmth. Clara watched, her heart swelling with gratitude. The complexity of family pulled them together in this chaotic moment, reminding her of the strength they could summon. As Mia and Max clung to their uncle, Ethan turned to Clara with a gentle expression, conveying understanding without the need for words. The tension began to melt away. "What is going on?" he asked, glancing around at the hospital room, at Grandma, at everything they were all holding. Clara could see the flicker of realization cross his face as he began to put the pieces together. "They came to see Grandma," Clara explained, her voice steady now, drawing on the energy of her children. "We thought it would bring her some joy." Ethan nodded, his expression shifting to something deeper, a recognition of the fragility they were facing together. "I'm glad I came," he said softly. "I brought some treats to brighten her day." Then he reached into the small bag he carried, revealing colorful cupcakes decorated with sprinkles. "Thought we could have an impromptu party right here." Max's eyes widened with excitement, and the room echoed with the lively spirit that filled Clara with lightness. It was more than just sweets. It was a celebration of life amid uncertainty, a symbol of their strength as a family. As the nurse stepped back, Grandma's cheeks brushed against the fabric of her hospital gown, illuminating her face with joy. "Oh, my favorites!" Grandma exclaimed. "You all made my day." The lingering shadows in the room lightened, and Clara felt hope unfurl in her chest. The twins gathered around, their laughter circling the treats like a bouquet of happiness. As they shared cupcakes, Grandma reminisced about baking days from long ago, her memories dancing in the warmth of their shared space. "Can we make cupcakes together when you're feeling better?" Mia asked, her big eyes sparkling with innocent determination. Clara felt a swift pang in her heart, how much they wanted to piece together moments of joy despite the uncertainty that lay ahead. "Absolutely," Grandma said, grasping the twins' hands tenderly. "We'll have the sweetest party ever." Clara felt her brother's gaze on her, and for the first time in what felt like ages, she saw a bridge forming between the shadows of fear and the warmth of family. They didn't have all the answers, but together, they could build minutes of joy, cultivate the stories that were still waiting to be told. After their small celebration, Ethan looked around the room. "So, what is next? More adventures?" he asked, prompting Max to bounce up and down with excitement. "I have a plan," Max exclaimed, his tiny face scrunching in concentration. "Tomorrow, we can make a treasure map that leads to Grandma's favorite stories." "It's perfect," Clara affirmed, surprised at how effortlessly the idea rolled off her tongue. This journey was about transforming hardships into light, a tapestry woven with hope, stories, and both heartache and healing. As the hours began to pass, it became clear that this moment, this gathering of joy amid uncertainty, was only the beginning. The wheels of transformation were already turning, knitting them together in unexpected ways, crafting new visions for the future. That day, they found the strength to hope. The shadows still loomed, but Clara embraced the truths she faced. She didn't have to shoulder it all alone. Each giggle, each cupcake, each story, they were all threads that wove love into an unbreakable family bond, no matter the storms they would encounter. And so, through shared laughter, Clara knew they could navigate this journey together. They would fill their lives with laughter, heart, and the memories of the woman they loved, all while embracing whatever lay ahead. As Clara whispered goodnight to her children that evening, a smile spread across her face. The journey wasn't over, but together, they were ready to embrace it, inching closer to a new dawn filled with promise. If you feel inspired by this story, join our journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next uplifting adventure. Leave a like now to help spread hope through our stories. Your thoughts matter. Comment below and share your feelings about this heartfelt conclusion. And please, share instantly this transformative story with at least 5 friends who need this light in their lives. Let us walk this path of hope together. You need to support the channel today.